الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين إلى يوم الدين أما بعد وإذا قرئ القرآن فاستمعوا له وأنصتوا لعلكم ترحمون. Quran is a means of acquiring the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One thing you can be sure in the Quran is there is pleasure. So the pleasure which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept in the Quran, the mercy, the rahmah, one cannot fathom. The Quran is a sea of mercy. The Quran is a sea of mercy. Swim in the ocean and ride the waves of Allah's mercy. So in reading Quran we must perceive the mercy descending on us, on the environment, wherever on earth Quran is being recited. Allah's mercy is descending. So when making tilawat of Quran, we should make an intention of drawing the mercy of Allah for ourselves, for the family, our locality, and the ummah at large. So our ultimate wealth is the wealth of Deen and Quran. Abu Bakr Siddiq radhiyallahu anhu used to say, ثلاث لا تدرك بثلاث. Three things cannot be obtained except with three. Al-ghina bil-muna. Wealth cannot be acquired through hopes. Wealth cannot be attained and achieved by hopes. But it is through risk, through ita'at, through the obedience of Allah, there will be barakah. لَفَتَحْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ. If you want the barakat from the heavens, then we need to unlock the key through the treasures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَالشَّبَابِ بِالْخِضَابِ. And youth cannot be obtained by dyeing one's hairs. Many people have this desire to look young, the ambition to hide their aging. So the real aging is actually a noor of a believer. So if a person has white hair, it is the noor of a believer. وَالصِّحَةُ بِالْأَدْوِيَةِ. And health cannot be obtained through medication, but bishifa, from shifa, by the permission of Allah. So if Allah has not decreed shifa, then cure will not come. So we need to open those avenues, unlock those avenues which Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam has taught us. Not the avenues which our mind, our heart, our soul and our vision tell us, the external avenues, but through the real avenues. And to get the mercy of Allah is through Quran. So everything else which the world promise is a deception. They will try to show you they are merciful, they will try to show you they are there to help you. Batil and the West, in the name of different schemes. If you look in Africa, where they opened a church, they had a school, they had a feeding scheme. What was the means? They had a hospital. Was this all for the sake of helping humanity? Question mark. So we should not get caught up, otherwise their systems are there to extort humanity. There was a person who was on vacation in North Africa. He got lost in a desert. Temperature was soaring over 50 degrees Celsius, and in a distance he noticed a tent. So whatever little bit strength he had, he got to the tent. He found a Bedouin there and he screamed, "Water, water, I need water." So the Bedouin replied, I am sorry sir, I have no water, but would you like to buy a tie? He said, a tie? And then the Bedouin showed him different colored silk ties. He said, you fool, I don't need a tie, I need water. What you showed me this for? The Bedouin said, well, you really need water. There's another tent 3 kilometers in that direction, and they definitely have water, but I would advise you to buy the tie now, because if you don't buy the tie and tie the transaction, then the price will go up. Price will go up if I see you the next time. So the traveler ignored him and started crawling across the desert, and after many hours he finally reached the second tent. So the Bedouin again had a fancy tuxedo, suit on, suit boot, waiting at the entrance. Can I help you, sir? So he said, water, 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 I need water urgently. So the Bedouin said, sorry sir, you can't come in without a tie. You can't come in without a tie. So they'll extort you. You'll pay whatever price, forget the water. If you live to get to the tie and pay for it, whatever the cost is, they'll draw the price, because it was part of making you tired. It was part of the exercise. So the systems that is around us is made for extortion. Quran and Hadith, Rahman with Rahmah, that's our only hope, only salvation, only road, only avenue. Hazrat Muhammad bin Munkadir was a great tabi'i and a great qari. Imam Malik rahimahullah used to call him Sayyidul Qurra, the leader of the Qurra. And when he used to make tilawat of Quran, he would cry excessively. One night during Salaah, he was crying to such an extent that his family became worried, as he was crying so long. And after inquiry, he said that while I was reciting Quran, I came across a verse which reduced me to tears. Which verse was it? And he recited this verse here, وَبَدَا لَهُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ مَا لَمْ يَكُونُوا يَحْتَسِبُونَ. And what they never even fathomed shall come to light to them from Allah. Means that they will come to realize what Allah's punishment for them will be, which they never imagined. So it will become apparent, which they never even imagined. So one ayah is sufficient. Now a person will think so that here's a person in tears and they restless, but this is part of Allah's mercy, because every ayah draws hidayah. Every drop of tear that falls from the eye is a sign of hidayah and guidance. Is fadail for these tears. So it looks like they're pareshan in grief, but they're in mercy. So his kayfiyat of Quran, this rahmah, this nur, this sakina would descend. And Imam Malik had said that I would just go and look at Muhammad bin Munkadir when I notice a slight hardness in my heart. So the effect of just looking at him was such, it was so powerful, that the darkness of the heart would be dispelled because of the nur that descended on his face, that a person would just come in his sahbah, in his company, and he would be reformed, his islah would be made. So Quran that we read in is drawing the rahmah, and this rahmah gets stored in the ruh. And when a person comes and visited this person who is making tilawat of Quran, then they get a show of this rahmah, this nur, and it dispels the darkness. So one is sitting in the company of the Ahlullah who have absorbed this nur, but the fact that a person is making tilawat of Quran, they're making tilawat of Quran, is a sign already that they're in the sahbat of the Quran, they're in the sahbat of Allah Rabbul Alameen. and that effect will rub on them and those that are in their company. So mercy. Then 4.7, Rahmatu bil ahl, having mercy on one's family. So whether it's the wife, whether it's the brothers, sisters, relatives, etc. And it is assisting them, whether it's in the worldly terms and in the ukhrawi terms as well, that how effort can be made on my family so that they can enter Jannah without any reckoning, without going through Jahannam. So يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا. So this concern for the family, that's part of the mercy. So a person who's drawing the mercy of the Quran, he will show mercy to the creation. Start with himself, then his relatives. So wives, a person fulfills the hukuk of their spouse. ومن آياته أن خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا لتسكنوا إليها. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has shown us these signs. He created spouses for you, that you find the rest in them. وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. And He put between you love and compassion. Allah put this love and compassion between you. خَيْرُكُمْ. So love and compassion, rahmah, mawadda and rahmah. The word here we're trying to identify is rahmah. So there's rahmah as well between the husband and wife. So the more Quran tilawat we make as well, the more rahmah will descend, and the more rahmah there will be between the spouses. خَيْرُكُمْ li ahlihi. The best amongst you are those who are good to their spouses. وَأَنَا خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِي. Then ar-rahmah bil-du'afa wal-fuqara, having mercy on the poor, the destitute, the disadvantaged, the weak, the needy. As somebody beautifully said, that amongst the sha'air of Islam, the great sha'air of Islam is it'amut ta'am, feeding the needy, wal ihsan ila al fuqara wal aramil wal aitam, and doing good to those who are disadvantaged, the underprivileged, the destitute, those that in need, the widows, the orphans. Talaban li rahmatillahi al-malik al-allam, seeking the mercy of Allah. So again, in these deeds, we are drawing mercy. You feed somebody, you draw in mercy. So a person read tilawat of Quran, they draw mercy. But through the barakat of the tilawat, we can be a means of mercy to humanity. So it'amut ta'am wal ihsan ila al fuqara wal aramil wal aitam talaban li rahmatillahi al malik al allam. So lot of fadail in this aspect, and the means of drawing mercy. أَنَا وَكَافِلُ الْيَتِيمِ فِي الْجَنَّةِ هَكَذَا. I will be like this in Jannah with the person who takes care of an orphan. And Nabi Islam raised his forefinger and middle finger to illustrate this. وَأَمْسَحْ رَأْسَ الْيَتِيمِ, passing your hand on the head of a orphan. On the day of Qiyamah, Allah will say, Ya bin Adam maridtu falam ta'udni. I was ill, you never visit me. Kayfa a'uduka wa anta rabbul alameen. Ya Allah, I could have done that. Ala alimta anna abdi fulan marida. So and so was sick and you never visit him. If you had visited him, lawajadtani indahu, you would have found me there. Istad'amtuka, I asked you, I requested you for food. But falam tut'imni, you never fed me. Ya Allah, how is it possible? And you are Rabbul Alameen. If you had fed so and so, then you would have found that Ya ibn Adam istasqaytuka, I sought from you drink. How could I do that when you're Rabbul Alameen? If you had given water to my certain servant who was in need, then you have achieved that. So Whether you feed somebody, you give them something to drink, where you visit the sick, you will find Allah. وَمَا تُقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُم مِّنْ خَيْرٍ تَجِدُوهُ عِندَ اللَّهِ. Whatever good we do will never be lost. We will find the reward by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So don't ever undermine. مَن لَا يَرْحَمْ لَا يُرْحَمْ. Whoever does not have mercy will not be shown mercy. So when a person draws mercy from the Quran, then they will start distributing mercy, and there will be a means of mercy to such an extent that wherever they go, they can be a means of dispelling the azab of Allah, because they are the epitome of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we also should will be empowered by empowering others as well. There was a farmer who grew a superior, excellent quality, award-winning corn in his farm, and each year when he took part in the state fair, he won the best prize and honor. So one year he was interviewed, and the reporter discovered that the farmer shared his prize corn with his neighbors. How can you afford to share your best seed corn with your neighbors when they are entering the same competition like you? So the farmer replied, didn't you know the wind picks up pollen grains from the ripening corn, and it moves from field to field? If my neighbors grow inferior, substandard, poor quality corn, then the cross-pollination process will steadily degrade the quality of my corn. So if I have to really grow good corn, then I must help my neighbors to grow good corns as well. So when you actually help others, you are helping yourself, you are empowering yourself, and eventually you are a means and a cause for mercy spreading on earth. And this is not restricted to humanity, but 4.9, Al-Rahmatu bil-Hayawan. So having mercy on the creation of Allah, even the animal kingdom, actually in all aspects as well. So somebody who was good to an animal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgave that female min baghaya Bani Israel. She was an unchaste woman from amongst the Bani Israel, and فَسَقَتْهُ فَغُفِرَ لَهَا بِهِ. She was forgiven because of this act. So having mercy towards the creation. لعن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من مثل بالحيوان. So we are not allowed to mutilate, to punish, to use them as targets, etc. And they are cursed. لعن من اتخذ شيئا فيه غرضا. You cannot make them a target. أُذِبَتِ امْرَأَةٌ فِي حِرَّةٍ سَجَنَتْهَا حَتَّى مَاتَتْ. So there was a lady who imprisoned a cat and never looked after it, fed it, gave it drink, etc. فَدَخَلَتْ فِيهَا النَّارِ. She was entered into hellfire because of this deed. To such an extent, even when we are doing qurbani, etc., we are told فَأَحْسِنُوا الذَّبْحَ. Well, يُحِدَّ أَحَدُكُمْ شَفْرَتَهُ. Even sharpen the knife. فَلْيُرِحْ ذَبِيحَتَهُ. Don't cause inconvenience. إِذَا قَتَلْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا qitlata, when you kill also, make sure they do not are not inflicted with any pain, any difficulties, any hardship. The amal for today is, in the sufuf we should make sure that these sufuf are straight, they are in order, there is no space in between. كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يأتي الصف من ناحية إلى ناحية, used to go from one end of the saf to the other himself. Each row touch the shoulders and the chests of Sahaba, straightening it, and used to say, لا تختلفوا فتختلف قلوبكم. Let there not be any crookedness in your sufuf, otherwise your hearts will disunite. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على الذين يصلون الصفوف. Allah and His angels send salutations on those people who join the gaps in the rows. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq of making amal and understanding. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen.